All right, everybody, welcome to our Fierce Leader interview with Sonia Koval. She is a premier wellness advocate with doTERRA. So she's going to take some time to tell us about her doTERRA journey, which I'm excited to hear about. So let's start with, how did you first hear about doTERRA?
Well, obviously your mom, right? Melissa, the best. And I think you had a little bit to do with it too. Because do you remember way back when we were at like one of your friends' apartments and I had a sore throat?
Was it really me?
Yeah, and you had given me lavender and tea tree. I
Wow,
should
I
talk
literally have no clue, but I'm going to take total credit for it.
I know we should talk about that. But anyways, and somehow your mom got in touch with me because we were living in Hawaii at the time, and
Mhm.
so I must have came home for something. But yeah, at the time it was really good timing because I was dabbling like in the black market of essential oils, I would say. And I was ordering some unbranded ones through a co-op online, and I was just starting to do like some little DIYs here and there. And it kind of dawned on me that like, I think Finley was about 2 years old at the time. And I thought, I don't know if I trust putting these on her skin, especially not taking them internally. There's literally like no ingredient label, nothing, right? But they were a good deal. So I was really like, she caught me at a good time because I was really starting to experiment with them, but I really did want something of quality and oils that I could trust, especially if I was going to take them internally and put them on my little girl. So that's how it all began.
Okay, so I somehow gave you something for sore throat, which still is cracking me up. And then did you like have a conversation about like what did you enroll with? Like what did that look like? Were you just ready to go or
So she, I believe, sent me a sample of Serenity,
Mm,
which was like my gateway oil, I would say.
mm.
At the time, I think Finley must have been about 2, and she was finally starting to sleep through the night. Now, since it took her so long, my body was just trained to like wake up multiple times during the night, and I could not fall back asleep. That oil like changed my life. And so I still use it to this day. Like if I know, like if I'm laying in bed and I cannot fall asleep, I get it out and I throw it on my wrist and I am out like a light. It works wonders. But
Hmm.
yeah, some people say switch up your oils, but that is one that I never switch up. The rest of them I do. But yeah, so then I enrolled with the Family Essentials kit. I think we all kind of did at the time. I don't know. I call it the Dr. Mom kit. I feel like that's what it was. It had like an emergency symbol.
Like a long time ago.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And it was just like 10 little bottles, right? And right away, I literally like started sharing them with people out in Hawaii. I just remember sitting at my kitchen table and I'm like filling little drams with my little tiny bottles that to this day we're like, oh my God, that was the craziest thing. Um, but they ran out so fast, which obviously I've ordered like every single month for the last 7 years, which is really crazy if I was to add them all up. But
Mhm.
holy cow. Yeah, they just work so fast. It was like my own little natural medicine cabinet at my fingertips, and it still is to this day.
I think I'm gonna call you Serenity Sonia from now on.
There you go.
Okay, so you did start sharing them right away. I do kind of remember that. I wasn't, so when do you remember the year that you enrolled? Or like when was it?
It was 2013.
Yeah, okay, so I think all right, so I wasn't that far. I didn't have my oils that much longer than you per se, but you caught the vision way before I did. You were like in another, so you were starting to share with people pretty quickly.
Hmm.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about like well, I just feel like we have to talk about the fact, which I think is so funny, that I took your ticket to convention. Do you remember that?
Not really. Was it right away?
Yeah, so you were gonna go. So in 2014 is when I went to convention, and I didn't have a ticket, and I decided last minute, and you were looking to sell yours. So your ticket is what ultimately got me to convention that year, because you guys were just moving. There was a lot going on.
That's the year we moved back. So
Mhm.
hmm
Uh-huh. There was a lot going on. So anyway, so thank you for that. So you had a lot of different things that were going on. How do you feel like what are different ways you had different you Sonia guys is like really she's a whippersnapper. She could do anything she puts her mind to. So you've done different jobs along the way during that time. What are some ways that you've been able to incorporate doTERRA into the things that you've been doing?
Um, Honestly, what I do for my day job is quite a bit different, and it's very hard to incorporate, to be honest. And it's harder now. But so currently for my day job, I'm a loan closer for a mortgage company, and it's a very detailed job. Okay, like I need to be 100% accurate all the time.
Mm.
Um, can be stressful at times, but be- now like I'm working from home, I'm remote 100% of the time, and so the only way right now that I incorporate my oils into that or the business is that I get to use them all day long. So like I have my deep blue rub sitting right next to me. I've got my supplements right here. I can add the oils to my smoothie when I head upstairs to make a smoothie. Like they are here, like incorporating them into my life all day long. Diffusing, of course. And then like for Finley or Mitch, like I can take care of them. But when I did work in the office not all that long ago, I would diffuse all day long. And I have found some of my best customers, I would say, like were either coworkers or even people that came into the office and just loved the smell of the office. I always had some good diffusing blends going. So that was fun. I also had a chance to meet more people than I do now. It's kind
Mhm.
of non-existent these days. So I do need to get more creative with networking. Um, but that leads me to why I continue to do what I do with doTERRA, even though like I don't know, my strengths or whatever you want to call it are very different from doTERRA to the mortgage industry. Um, I guess that's where like my passions come in because the mortgage industry does not satisfy the creative side that I have,
Mhm.
right? Like
Mhm.
I always tell people, even when I worked in the professional scene in town, I would tell people like doTERRA is my fun job. And it really is because I get to I love like DIYs. I love getting together with people and making things or pretty labels or like all the continuous learning because that learning just never ends, right? Whether it's business trainings or product trainings, like it's all really good stuff. And so I could not think of not having this side job. Like it really just fulfills something inside of me. Yeah, I'm already a busy mom working 40 plus hours a week, but I will always find time for doTERRA.
Mm. Yeah, I was thinking that you really have maximized your connections really beautifully. And since you guys landed in Minnesota, not that long after everything, I mean, you've been working very hard. And yeah, you have really like, I think brought in your connections well and like you done it in a way that works well with oils, I think. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's not like you're like a physical therapist or anything where you're like rubbing deep blue on people.
I know it's a little tricky, but I've made it work.
What do you feel like you want to create with doTERRA?
Well, obviously, I would love for it to become a full-time job for me and my family. I've learned that I love being at home. I've never really had that opportunity before to work from home 100% of the time. It would allow me to be more involved in Finley's homeschooling. I mean, we're doing that, but honestly, it's like my husband doing 99% of it. I love to travel, so I would love to just combine all those passions, right? To be able to travel, oils, homeschool, all the things. But one of my strengths is futuristic. And so I have all sorts of dreams, right? And one of them, which you probably know, is just to buy an Airstream and travel the country full time. Like, seriously, that's what I want to do. So no matter what, doTERRA will always be a part of my life. Um, I'll continue showing up for my team, loving on them, sharing oils with new people, continually learning. So yeah, that's about that.
What do you feel like is the biggest benefit you've gotten out of, the doTERRA journey for you?
Um, I would say it's probably like just having that outlet for creativity.
Mhm.
I can hang out with friends and be productive at the same time. I'm just at a stage in my life where like I hate wasting time. Okay. So how like hardly ever am I just doing nothing. It's allowed me opportunities where I've had to learn more about technology than I've ever wanted to. We've all learned to pivot these days, right? Taking our classes online, learning all about Zoom, social media, running a business virtually. When I figure something out, it's very rewarding though, and I love to learn new things.
Mhm.
So I love that the trainings that are put out there, like I said, whether it's business or product training, they're super great. It's gotten me out of my comfort zone for sure. Like I literally, I'm not such an introvert, but I am like a lot introverted, right? That it's definitely put me in a position where I have to go out on a limb in order to make my business work for me. Um, and every time I take that extra step that I wouldn't normally do, um, it pays off. And I usually end up having a really great time. And I'm like, I need to do that more often. But also, like, another big benefit is just not only the people I've met, but the people I've reconnected with over the years that I wouldn't normally reach out to one way or another. So that's been super fun. And then, of course, like our fun business trips, right, to convention. Like, I wouldn't miss those for the world. I don't know why I gave up my ticket in 2014. That was crazy. But again, because I love to travel and I get to do it with super fun people, it also turns a really fun trip into a very productive trip, which is great.
Key.
Yes.
Key. Yes, I don't like wasting time either. No, I love that. That's a lot of benefits. That's awesome. Those are really good. If somebody were considering, getting started with doTERRA now, like as far as sharing the oils, creating something with it, like why is now a good time?
Because honestly, everybody needs them in their home, especially during these times. Like, it's not easy to go see a doctor anymore. You have a sore throat or you want a strep test or something. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even imagine. Like, I haven't been to a doctor since all this, but it's not fun, right? You also don't know what you're going to catch when you go there. So I can take care of like 80% of our issues here at home. Um, it helps us to be a lot more proactive with our health. I know, like, well, with my husband being a firefighter paramedic, I mean, he's in the thick of it. And I don't think he's been sick once since March, let alone any of us here. We just know the signs that if we start to feel a little crummy, we know what to do and we can like kick ourselves out of it really quickly without having to go down that path. But I think people are also looking for jobs now that they can work from home, obviously, with like a baby on their hip, or while their kiddos are distance learning, right? Or they're in school one week and at home the next week. Like, who knows? Like, having a flexible job is so important right now. There's virtually no overhead, which is great. There's like no huge fees to start. The only requirement is just to like be a product of the product, right? Which is not hard. Um, and there's a lot of women that just want to get their oils paid for. So it's like having free natural health care, and who wouldn't want that, right? Um, yeah, but we just have a lot to offer with our education, I think. Um, it's just super fun.
Wise words. Is there anything else you want to share with the audience? Anything else we're missing?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I love it, obviously. I think we all do. There's so many of us that have been together doing this for so long. It's just become such a neat community, and we can easily pull new people into the community, and it's not a big deal, and people feel right at home. And I think we just have a really neat thing going.
We're fun, aren't we, Sonia? We're introverts, but we can still be fun.
Yes, totally.
All right. Well, Sonia, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy, very busy, full schedule to be able to share with us and a little bit about what you've learned along the way. And I just really enjoyed it. So thanks, Son.
Good. Thanks, Amy.